Hey, what's going, y'all? It is yours truly once again. In regards to seeing in her dark, well, if one doesn't know, the masculine represents light and the feminine represents dark. So this means a lot of other things too. We could say a lot of different things, but for now, let's just deal with the darkness. Okay? Let's deal with the darkness. Okay, so seeing in the dark. Well, you got to think, seeing in the dark has this notion of, like, if you look at certain animals, certain animals that live in the dark are what you would call nocturnal. Yeah, they're nocturnal. And that's literally because they live in the dark. But they've had to pretty much be made for the dark. Like, in order to see in the dark, they have larger eyes, dilated pupils that remain dilated overall because they live in the dark, and that's the only way they can see in the dark. So a lot of animals at night, you tend to notice, have more pronounced eye structures, probably more complex lenses in order to see in the dark. So it really takes you as an individual around the feminine, if we want to tie this in with any type of biomimicry, it takes you being a certain type of individual to see in the dark. But this is not because you live in the dark. Not because of that at all. There's a certain terminology for that, but it's when you can see in the night. You can see in the night as well as the daytime, and I'll have to talk about this down the road. But you're about the light. That's the main thing, with your masculine. It is about the light, but you can also see in the dark. In order to be able to put the light in the right spot of the room, per se, if need be. But in the meantime, just seeing in the dark just requires a wider lens, a more complex lens. You got to have some type of infrared focus. In regards to the feminine, you have to let her know that you peep things about her even when she doesn't think you looking, even when she doesn't expect you to be looking. Just goes about with your demeanor and everything. And oftentimes what you'll get her doing is she'll either try to start an argument with you because of her disagreeing with you, but the truth says all and she just can't bear to hear it, or she'll acknowledge what you've said and take the proper measures to make things right. She'll make her adjustments where need be. Or at least she'll just say, hey, I'm sorry, because most of the feminine are not going to tell you that they're sorry. And if so, it's going to get to a point of where they'll get tired of saying it. They'll be like, I'm tired of saying I'm sorry. Like, I always owe you an apology. Well, if you haven't changed your behavior, of course it's going to always seem like you got to owe him apologies, because you're always indebting him, if you will, putting him in debt emotionally by your lack of emotion, by your lack of empathy or sympathy, by your lack of actions in a lot of different ways. You're supposed to be his helpmeet, but you hardly help him at anything. You hardly help him meet any type of goals or anything like that. But that's also part of seeing in the dark, in her dark too, as well, fellas. Being able to see that she's not about accepting your light. Seeing in the dark, seeing how she would rather be in the darkest of places, how she would rather remain that way, how she doesn't want to take on any of your light, even though part of her feminine is designed for that. Actually, her feminine is designed to take on your light, because the light is within her, but you have to pretty much spark that light that's within her. This is where I believe the idea of a twin flame comes into play. Not that twin necessarily means equal, because even twins aren't genetically equal. A lot of people don't get that. But the twin flame comes from you sparking her flame. Your candle lights her candle. See what I'm saying? So you can pretty much say that's the whole purpose of seeing in her dark. That's the whole purpose of it. So really, to be honest, she's never going to be in her true feminine form until she accepts your light. Even for her to be your helpmeet. The reason why she's not even trying to help you is because she hasn't fully accepted your light. She hasn't fully accepted you, right? But see, this makes her not fully feminine overall. Because how many times she hasn't really been there to help? Or just literally accepting your light. Because that's actually a part of help too. That means that she has gravitated to your perspectives, your way of life, your heart and soul. She's taken on everything that you've been through to be where you are for herself. So that helps her with her purpose. Not only in life, but in light, if you will, get it? In light of being around you. Because see, her full purpose, little does she know, is about being around you as the masculine that has been able to tap into her feminine by just literally seeing in her dark. Thanks a million.